we started shooting gigs together. And I think, and I had seen your photos in Metal Maniacs and stuff. I think my favorite photo of yours that's not in this book, that's not a live photo, is definitely the first Behemoth photo shoot you did. Which was, I seem to remember you telling me it was like literally in, you know, like the day of the show, and it was a huge hassle, and it was like, you know, make this thing happen. And I distinctly, it's such an incredible photo. It does not look like anything they have ever done since. And they've done a lot of incredible creative visual stuff. I don't know if you just saw that
Oh
live stream
yeah,
they
they're
did. That
amazing.
live stream they did is like the greatest thing I've ever seen in that church. They need to like bottle that and sell it as a DVD. But
Oh, I'm sure
yeah,
they will.
I mean, you've got many, many great photo shoots. I wanted to ask you kind of do you have a favorite studio or band shoot ever?
I don't, but I can definitely tell you the story behind that Behemoth shoot. It was a New England Metal and Hardcore Fest, and I had to get a shot of them, and I was told I had 5 minutes. So I set up my lights. You know that brick wall against the Palladium, that yellow brick? I set it up right then and there, just two lights with umbrellas, split lighting. I had my assistant come in for a test shot, did my test shots. With a lot of bands like Guar, Cradle, Filth, Behemoth, a lot of bands that wear a lot of makeup or stage clothes that they don't get into before stage. Sometimes they'll get ready a little early to give you a little more time for a photo. Sometimes they get ready when they normally get ready, and you have to catch them when they're on their way to the stage. So I'm doing a shoot with them. They walk in, I pose them, I take the first shot, and that's the shot you saw. I spent, a few seconds posing that, getting that perfect. Boom, that's the shot. I had maybe 5 or 6 more shots until their intro music started while they were in the set. So they
Wow.
ran. I had maybe a minute to do that photo shoot. And I've done photo shoots with, Slipknot that have been 30-second photo shoots. Literally like walk, get in, set them up, do the shot. You get 2 or 3 more shots and they're already gone. So that first shot has to be the shot. So you always want to make sure to have your lighting set exactly where you want it. You have an assistant stand in or whoever stand in to test the lighting, make sure it's 100%. You take your time with the first pose, take that first shot because that might be all you get. So really important. And then in
How do
terms
you,
of favorite photo shoots, I definitely don't have any like this is my singular favorite photo shoot, but the ones that stick out on my mind are the ones that like that first Alice Cooper shoot I did, getting to work with Alice Cooper, and I've done a few shoots with him since, and it's just awesome working with someone you've looked up to since you were like a little kid. Getting to work with, the Metallica dudes, Megadeth, Slayer, Korn, all of those people. It's always so surreal the first time, and you have that game face, that, all right, I got this. When you're just like, holy shit, I had posters of them on my wall, and now I'm shooting posters of them that are going to be on other people's walls. It's insane. A lot of the favorite people I have to work with are definitely the ones I work with again and again and again. So you'll see, like, if you follow my work, you'll see a lot of names pop up again and again and again. And the reason I work with them so much is I love working with them. So those are definitely my favorites for sure.
awesome. How do you stay so composed? I would lose my shit trying to. I'm very anxious, so I don't know. I maybe don't have the temperament for this, but how do you stay poised in that like pressure-filled environment?
I get into what a lot of people around me call the zone, where I just tunnel vision and I'm just thinking nothing other than the lighting has to be perfect, the pose has to be perfect. And it's funny because I'm a very directional person. I'll be like, okay, chin up, turn this way, chin down a little bit. I'm very like not hands-on but vocally directional. Whereas I've been told by so many bands and so many models that a lot of photographers are like, okay, uh, be metal, and I don't do that. I'm very like, the light is here, your face has to be here, and I'm not like rude about it. I'm just, I direct. And when you're directing someone that's such a big name that's done it so much, and they're just like kind of like, oh, you know what you're doing, which is always, great feedback, and it's always good to look 1,000% professional and like what you're doing, and I do. I know what I'm doing lighting wise and posing wise. So that's really important to have that kind of on lock before you even walk in the set or get anything set up. Because if you fumble around, if you look like you don't know what you're doing or you look like a fan, you're not going to be treated professionally and you're not going to get good shots. You know, sometimes it's fun to kind of have that game face. One of my favorite bands of all time is Iced Earth. And as a guitarist, my main inspiration as a guitarist was, you know, Abbott, John Schaefer, Dave Mustaine. Those were my, oh, then James Hetfield and Kirk, of course. Like those were my favorite guitarists. So I was doing a shoot with Iced Earth, and you know, they don't know me, I don't know them. I know Stu because I used to shoot Into Eternity when he was in that band. So he recognized me right away, and he's like, "Hey, Saffer, what's up, dude?" I'm like, "Hey, dude, this is awesome that you're doing this." And so I did a photo shoot with them midday, and it was funny because they didn't want to change into their stage clothes, so all the shots are here up because they put on shirts and they're in sweatpants because they were and like lounge pants and sleeping pants. So I did that shoot, and John was really, really impressed by the shots. And he was like, "Hey, so we need shots for a tattoo magazine. Can you do that too? We'll bring it in. Can you shoot the whole set and get a bunch of live shots for us?" You know, and whatnot. And so when I went to do the tattoo shot, he has tattoos of Set. They're kind of their Eddie, their mascot on his arm. And he's like, "Oh, this one's from Something Wicked. This one's for," I'm like, I'm trying not to be like, I can play every single riff of every single song of every single set you're pointing to because, yeah, you are my guitar hero. You know, just, oh, that's cool, man. Click. You know, just got to keep that straight face. It's really important.
Amazing. I'm also a huge Ice Earth fan. So
Oh my
amazing
gosh,
story.
love that band.
I also love Stewie. Stewie's incredible.
Yeah.
So happy for him. And yeah, man, I want to be mindful of your time. I have a few more questions for you. You've been terrific. I love hearing these stories. I could literally do this all day.
Take
You would.
all the time you want. This,
I
this is your
appreciate you.
time. I'm good.
You're the best.
Thanks for watching the video so far. If you enjoy content like this, make sure you like and subscribe at the button below. You get notified every time we put out a new video, at least 3 every week.
I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Obviously this is an insane year, and we're all dealing, as you hear Brooklyn behind me, we are all dealing with the weight of the entire concert and touring industry halted. You were bi-coastal for a while, you constantly doing band shoots, Outburn magazine, so many things, so many plates to spin. Had to have been tough for you. What are you doing in the meantime beside prep for the book release and things like that, if anything?
Well, I'm lucky the book fell into my lap when it did. I was in Los Angeles all of February and the first week of March. And the first week of March is when COVID became, oh, this is happening, but it was before we knew anything about it. So I was at Disney 15 days of February and March, and doing band shoots. And then I flew home March 4th. March 7th, I had a photo shoot in Nashville with Dave Mustaine for the cover of Metal Hammer. And then I flew home in March 10th. I had a photo shoot with actually my old Long Meadow High School music teacher. It was for the music department, which was really cool. And directly after that, LA locks down, New York locks down. The next day, Massachusetts locks down. So I got those last few shoots in, which is great. But immediately after we went into lockdown, and essentially my career stopped that day, and I didn't do a photo shoot for 6 months. But when that happened, I got hit up by Rarebird, and we had been discussing when I was in Los Angeles in February. We had that first face-to-face meeting. We're talking about, okay, we'll get the ball rolling and try to get it out, around this time. And as soon as the pandemic hit, it was kind of like, hey, it's go time for the book. Let's get this done and have it out in October. I was like, okay, awesome. And the amount of work that goes into putting in a book took up 6 months pretty much. I had to, some of those shots that were 12 years old, I needed to go back to the original files and re-edit it. So I re-edited every single photo that's in that book, along with hundreds of others because I did batches. So re-editing over 1,000 photos, um, contacting every single model in the book to have them update their credits because some models have moved on with their life, their moms, their teachers, their whatever, and they no longer model and they want to be anonymous. So that's why you see some anonymous names in there. There's some celebrities in there that were like, I'll do this shoot because it's you and I love your work and I love black metal, but people can't know I'm in it. All right. So there's some anonymous for that too. And then there's some models that have changed their name from whatever it was to whatever it is now. So it was also so cool reconnecting to every single model in the book and talking to them after, some I've worked with a bunch, some I worked with as recently as this year, but some I hadn't talked to in 12 years. So getting to reconnect to all of them, talk about, where they are, where I am, that kind of stuff, and have them all super excited about it. Oh, I forgot about that. It's finally coming out. That's awesome. And then the ones who have been hounding me for 12 years, when's this coming out? When can I have the photos? Because I kept them on lock. The few that came out, I put out, but the majority of those photos were kind of in this essentially lock and hold period until the book came out. So now they're happy they have the photos, they're posting them, which is great. But yeah, between editing it, putting it together, contacting every single model took 2 weeks just because some of them changed numbers, changed addresses. I had to look them up on the internet and be a detective for about 2 weeks, but it was so cool connecting to everybody again. And yeah, it took up until pretty much last month was when everything kind of, the day it went to print was not even my last day of working on the book, because I'm still putting stuff together. Like we have guitar pick designs, guitar pick tins, stuff like that, promoting the book, going over everything, making sure everything's 100%, the pre-order stuff for the book, the soundtrack, of course, which is the coolest thing ever. And yeah, it took up so much time. And aside from that, I haven't done anything shoot-wise until recently. I shot a bit of a music video and a photo shoot. I can't say who it's for, but I think it comes out next week. It's for a very, very large band I've worked with before. Their singer lives not too far from me. So the video shoot was just Tara and myself, and then the singer and her partner, and me shooting video. So it was just us. It was safe. It was distanced. And then I opened my studio maybe a month or so after that and did maybe 3 or 4 photo shoots since, mostly shooting Tara more than anything, because it's super easy to, in the morning just go, want to do a shoot today? Sure. And it's really cool because I'm shooting, Lens Baby now. So I'm trying out all these cool new lenses from Lens Baby. I'm shooting Leica now, so getting used to a whole new camera system after being Canon for 15 years. Aperture Lighting sent me a bunch of lighting to test out. So I've been testing out all the aperture lights. So I have all this gear to test out, all this stuff to do, but I'm not like open booking shoots, shooting bands kind of full time like I normally do. Plus, with no bands on tour, I don't really have bands to shoot. Because, I'll do photo shoots when a band comes around to the Palladium. We'll shoot the cover of this magazine while they're here, kind of thing. But with no bands on tour, I'm limited to whoever's local and safe, and not a lot of bands are local anymore. Like, even All That Remains, they don't all live here anymore. They don't all live in my town anymore. You go to Hatebreed and like Josta's around, Wayne's around, Frank's in Florida. Frank is in Florida. So like Hatebreed's not a band I can do a photo shoot with right now, though I did do the photos on their new album that's about to come out. And the new album's amazing. You got, Shadows Fall doesn't exist anymore, and Brian's out here, they're all over. Killswitch, same thing. Adam lives in San Diego now, and I think Justin's in Florida. So it's kind of like all the bands that are local to me, I can't do shoots with because they're not local to me anymore. They all. So I did start a Patreon where I'm doing a lot of behind the scenes of my photo shoots and the test shoots. So I'll do like the aperture test and talk about the equipment, how I would use it, how I did use it, all the settings. I'll go into an old shoot, like a photo shoot with Lacuna Coil, and break down the lighting with behind the scenes photos, all the lighting settings, all the camera settings, all just in a list. And those are long, long reads. It takes me hours and hours and hours to do those, but it's really cool, like digging into old photo shoots. And one I'm going to do next week is My Chemical Romance, which started a little fire on Twitter yesterday, which is pretty awesome. I posted a photo of Frank didn't think much of it, and then AP picked it up, Alternative Press, and they're just like, hey, Jeremy Saffer's releasing 15-year-old photos of, My Chemical Romance on his Patreon. Check it out, which is really, really nice of them. So I'm trying to grow that a little bit in the meantime, because I don't think I'll be back to actually photographing bands to full capacity until, another year, another 2 years, another 3 years. Who knows? It's kind of like I got to get creative and do whatever I can do to stay afloat in the time that I can't shoot bands.
Indeed. And again, my heart goes out to all of us, and you especially. This is ridiculous and unbelievable, and we're going to come back last of everything else in society, entertainment, especially in America where we don't value art. But this book is incredible. I just want to touch briefly on how you pick the bands for the vinyl and the album, and because that's also really interesting to me that you got to pair this. But it's almost like a wine pairing. It's like a book and the music that goes with it, which is really cool.
Oh, they go so well together. So Rarebird often puts out vinyl when they put out a book. So like the Necrogoblicon book comes with a vinyl of John Goblicon reading a chapter, and it's usually the author reading a chapter. And so I had this idea like, hey, we have this black metal book coming out. Why don't we put out a black metal soundtrack, and what are the logistics? So I had a few ideas of what we could do. A couple ideas didn't really pan out, which was for the best. And then I hit up Season of Mist, which, I work with Season of Mist all the time between photo shoots and all that. And basically the idea was, look, Rarebird's going to put out this free vinyl. We're not selling it. It's free with the book, and it's going to promote your bands. We just want black metal, though. We don't want to have anything but black metal. And they're probably the biggest black metal label, I would say, in terms of like who they have and how many bands they have for black metal. And I would say the best black metal label, for sure. So I was expecting them to come back with, okay, here's our, 12 to 15 most recent releases or upcoming releases, and here are the singles from it. Put that on the vinyl, and I'd be okay with that. That'd be cool. But instead, the owner was like, hey, here's the keys to the archive. Pick what you want, and dropped it in my hand. And I was able to pick from all of the Season of Mist bands any song I wanted. So I got to pick my favorite black metal bands on the label and some of my favorite black metal bands in general, and my favorite songs from those bands, which is really cool. Like I got to pick my favorite Mayhem song, which is not, I would say, anyone else's favorite Mayhem song, because I love Maniac. I love Grand Declaration of War, whereas everyone is pretty much Dom Mysterious and then the new stuff with Attila, whereas I loved Maniac. Like I love, the early and later stuff. I like all Mayhem, but Grand Declaration of War I thought it was awesome. Really, really, really good. And Immortal's my favorite black metal band, so having Abath kick it off with Count the Dead, which is such a great song. And 1349, Watain, Charak Agrin, Rotting Christ, and Oceans. The fact that End Oceans is back together, like I love that band from their early black metal stuff to their kind of more techno-y industrial black metal stuff, and then they became an industrial band for a minute, and now they're coming out back as like black metal, like black metal. But it's cool because it doesn't have, like, black metal is one of the most diverse subgenres of music, because there's symphonic black metal, there's thrashy black metal, black and death metal, raw black metal, vampiric black metal. There's all these different forms of black metal, and they're all really well represented on the album, because you got those, with the Mayhem song, it's not a raw and grim early Mayhem song. It's one of their more experimental kind of things with a Grand Declaration of War. Abath, of course. Watain's kind of the more thrashy, kind of raw black metal kind of bands. But then you have the symphonic bands on there, which is awesome, like Charak Agrin. Yeah, I'm really, really pumped. And it's, I'm a vinyl collector. I have a huge vinyl collection. I collect too much stuff. So my big thing is, cool, double LP going, record store day. I'm the guy first in line trying to get some stuff. So the fact that it's coming out as a double 45 RPM vinyl set is just insane to me. It's like the way I did my book. was exactly how I wish I could do my book. The way the soundtrack came out is exactly how I wish the soundtrack could come out. So it's like, it's perfect. And the cool thing is Tyson is a big black metal guy, the owner of Rarebird, and we got to totally nerd out on this because it's like when you're a kid, and I grew up on those comps. That's how I learned about so many bands. Deathmeister is how I learned about Lord Belial and Abigail and Abigor and so many other black metal bands. So getting to think like, hey, if I were ever to grow up and put out my own black metal comp, what bands would I choose? What albums, what songs would I put on it? And the cool thing is it has some newer bands on there like Hellfro. I don't know if a lot of people are really familiar with the Great Old Ones. They're incredible.
So good.
Right?
Ugh, so good.
Yeah, Lovecraft black metal, HP Lovecraft based
Yep.
black metal.
Yeah,
That's
I
awesome.
saw them in Europe, and I like couldn't watch another band that day. I was at a festival. I was like, okay, I need like a 3-hour break to go drink and process what I just felt because I don't know how to deal with this. They're
Oh
so
my
good.
God, they're
I
so
wish they could
amazing.
come here.
Hopefully one day. And then,
Yeah.
Being a big Gorgoroth fan, when Gall, kind of did his own new thing, I wasn't sure what it would be like, but it's really cool. So it's awesome to have, some classic tracks on there like, Sworn to the Dark, but then also have some new tracks like Hellfro is a band that came out, I think this year is when Season of Mist put them out, and they're an incredible black metal band. So having some new stuff on there, old stuff, a whole variety of black metal, you just pop it on and spin it while looking at the book, and I think that's the way to do it.
Killer, man, killer. What an incredible set piece this is going to be. At any of these versions are all very impressive looking and creatively done. So bravo.
Thank you.
Of course, as we we're getting to, unfortunately, it's been a tough time, but personally, I always still appreciate and love October for Halloween. And I could not talk to you in this room, in your famous mannequin room in your house. I don't know if the room is only the mannequin room, but I just call it the mannequin room from when I've seen you in it.
I can give this a little spin. Let's see.
Sure. Woo.
So we got these. We got all these life-size guys. That's my DVD wall over there. Those are my
Right.
DVDs. Sorry for the mess.
That's
And
okay.
that's my pop wall back there.
I know. I had a dream about your Funkos. If I wasn't packing up my crib and putting stuff in storage, I was like, oh man, I know he's selling off some of these Funkos, but
Yep.
I can't acquire any more things right now. I'm also like you. I am from the kid. I was a collecting kid, and it's the same thing now as a grown kid. But yeah, I mean these mannequins, all that stuff's amazing. But I love these. They're so creepy and insane, and Papa right next to Pinhead, and
Oh
like,
yeah, that's just a mask I put on a different thing
oh, okay,
because
it works.
yeah, last Halloween I had the Smurf clothing and the Papa mask, so I was Papa Smurferettis for Halloween. So yeah,
It's
I had that
amazing.
mask there. And I was like, why not put that on? That looks cool.
Super cool, man. Very, very perfect. The perfect aesthetic for this time of the year. We still need to keep it creepy and spooky, man, no matter what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. I wish
And
we were in a pandemic because I would be doing,
yeah,
gallery shows and book signings, but we're gonna try to find out a way to do that digitally, I guess. So we'll figure that out.
do your best, man. It's hard. I think this project is really special. I do sincerely hope that any models that are still modeling will get a boost from this. This is probably very, really, probably in this time of, there's less shoots, there's less things to do. It's a lot of, everybody had to become like a new kind of entrepreneur during this thing, for better or worse. So hopefully this
Yeah,
book is a boon to all those models who still do it, and a boost for them. Congratulations on all your success. Congratulations on this.
thank
Again,
you.
this is incredible for the culture. This is incredible for fans. We're going to have all the links. You're going to send me all the links, your Patreon, everything. We're going to link everything in the description. Shout out to Season and Mist, who, oh, I love them. And not supposed to have favorite labels, but I kind of do. And can't help it. And yeah, man, it's just great to connect with you again and catch up with you. And I do hope we get everything back and I get to see you at a show again sometime in the near future,
Absolutely.
because it's been too long. And it's always a pleasure, man. I really appreciate you. You've been great to me, and
Likewise.
I'm happy to continue to help you tell your story. And definitely I know a lot of my fans, or like, have asked me like, are you going to talk to industry people or photographers or anybody? Who would you talk to? And everybody knows you were on the list. So I'm glad we got this done.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that.
Indeed. Thanks so much for hanging out with Ghost Cult, and take care, Jeremy. I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me, dude. I appreciate it.